we're going to try to accomplish several things here tonight. A, give you more information on the 1% sales tax and why it's needed. And we're going to get it from the horse's mouth, for people who have done the studies and who can tell you exactly why it's needed and what the situation is.
And there are four facets of our infrastructure that we're focusing on tonight. One is our water system, with fresh water coming to your home. We have the second, which is what we call wastewater, our sewer system that's leaving from your home. We have the streets that help you get to your home. And then we have the ditches and the drainage, which help get the water off the street.
Let me say that just a few comments, because I think that I feel very confident that the Public Works Department is going to give you a good idea what this 1% sales tax is about. But look, this is about the real deal. That's basically what it is. And that's all we want to get done in this administration is the real deal. We've had too many promises for too long about repairing streets. We've had too many promises for too long about water. Anytime people make those promises, you have to have revenues. You have to have a way to pay for those things. And every time I speak in our community, I'm reminded that there's a lot of folks using our streets, using our water. We don't necessarily live in Jackson. And one of the immediate reactions we have, when they gonna pay for this stuff? When we're gonna do the toll roads? When we're gonna do the commuter taxes, or the commuter tax, and things like that? Well, I'm for the people, so you better believe that we're gonna address that question, okay? But at this point in time, what we need to do is do something that we know we can do without the consent of the legislature. Well, the legislature really already consented to this. They've already consented to this particular route. So we need to do as much as we can to get the ball rolling. So we're talking about $400 million, and I think that in the presentation we'll see that that goes a long way, although we may need some contribution from this 1% sales tax for that, but that will be the minority of what the money will be used for. So that's important. But we still, when we get finished doing that $400 million that we have to pay in that consent decree, still we have the roads, still we have the water, still we have the drainage that's necessary. Altogether, we're looking at, our research tells us we've got about $29 million worth of roads that need to be repaired right now. We got approximately, some assessments have been done that says we might have about $500 million worth of work that needs to be done on our water system in order to make it a good delivery system and a safe delivery system. You can't have 100-year-old pipes and expect them to last forever. You can't have even 60 and 70-year-old pipes and expect them to last forever. And so we got to avoid the kind of catastrophe that we had in 2010. We have to fix those pipes. We want to join together the projects of fixing the water system and fixing the roads, repaving the roads at the same time. We don't want to have to break down a road, dig up a road, put pipes in it. Pave a road and then have to dig it up again in order to put pipes in it. So we want to try to do those things near about the same time, so we won't have to increase our costs.
But people over the past have just been covering over. There are some places where we have 18 inches of asphalt. You know, the street shouldn't be no more than about 6 inches of asphalt. You have 18 inches of asphalt where they were just really covering over problems. And what we want to be able to do is just remove all that you have to do, put good soil down, and when you drive on that street and you see this nice, pristine street, you know that everything under it has been corrected. And that's what we want to do with this money.
What I'd like to try to impress upon you, since we all see when we have water line breaks, and we know there's a problem there, but we don't really have an appreciation of what's under the ground, what there really is. So what we did in the upgrade is we did a study of all the water lines in the city and tried to make a general evaluation of their condition. The first thing I want to show you is this pipe. The city actually has, as you can see, this shows the age of the water lines, mostly downtown. And there are over 112 miles of water lines that are cast iron pipes that are nearly or over 100 years old. And these pipes should have been replaced many, many years ago. And this shows the date. As you can see, most of them are from the downtown area, which was the city 100 years ago. Now, you say, why is that important? Structurally, some of them are sound, but if any of y'all have experienced brown water in your commodes or brown water in your drinking, I see everybody says they have. The people downtown with the hospitals and the hotels, they're not able, they have brown water, they have problems washing their laundry, and it just gives a bad impression. Well, let me show you why. This is a piece of that pipe, and if you touch the inside, it's corroded, and it's brown all the way through. This is corroded pipe, and it has to be replaced sooner or later. There may be some ways that it can be lined, but for the most part, this corrosion has taken place over decades and decades. This is a major problem. So you say, how much would this cost? Our estimate to replace these old unlined cast iron pipes with new pipe, ductile iron pipe, which is good. It expands some. It'll last, we say, for 100 years. $300 million to replace that many. 97 miles of the small diameter pipe we estimate will cost nearly $40 million to replace. So that's the big picture if you think about it. The big picture, if you total it all together that needs to be done, we're talking approximately $500 million, as the mayor pointed out. But we're looking at a big portion of that are these cast iron pipes are $300 million, and then we're looking at nearly $100 million to replace these small.
On March the 1st of this year, a consent decree was lodged against the city of Jackson by the Department of Justice and the Environmental Protection Agency. The consent decree demands that the city corrects their wastewater system. And the cost of these activities of the consent decree is, like the mayor said, it would be approximately $400 million to complete. These main issues of the consent decree, number one is discharging untreated sewage from the sewage collection system and system treatment plant. Number two, lack of funding and staff to properly maintain the sewer system. And number three, inadequate reporting and record keeping. Also, rolled into the consent decree is an agreed order by the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality to develop a sewer overflow response plan. I will say the consent decree has two components. The infrastructure issues as far as the wastewater treatment plant that we're gonna have to at least spend $100 million to correct. And then the wastewater collection and transmission system within the city, which we will spend approximately $84 million to correct.
Remember, we also have the money from the water increases, which are helping us and which are going to pay for the larger portion of the consent decree. According to our people who have studied the problem and who are keeping the finances straight for us on the consent decree, we expect to get all of the money on the consent decree from the water upgrades, save perhaps somewhere about $40 million or so, if we were able to segregate it. As you've seen them talking about this blended approach to trying to correct the system, We're gonna have to do some things, which correct things at the same time. But just concentrating on the consent decree, the water upgrade almost take care of it, almost take care of it. But we do need the other stuff for the other things.
I would like to know what relationship our water and sewer have with our surrounding community. Byron just incorporated. We furnish water and sewer for them, Clinton, Madison, these. And how is that paid for? If we do?
And how is,
How is it paid for if we do furnish water and sewer?
oh, well, they're paying, there was some different rates that was instituted at one point in time. Mary, you want to speak to it?
Basically, we have different relationships with different people. Actually, in the Byron community and in that direction, within a mile of Jackson, they pay twice. They pay twice the rate that you pay in Jackson.
Right.
If you're within a mile in the Byron community, then they pay twice the rate for our services, for our water, than you do in Jackson. If you're outside that mile, you only pay half as much as you pay in Jackson. So that's the arrangement in that direction. We are looking at changing those formulas in order that we can continue to benefit from pay from those communities. We think it's a bit oppressive that the immediate area mile would have to pay twice the rate. And that's a big encouragement to lose those customers and to do other things which are going to alienate them, which is not necessarily good if we're supplying their water and they're paying us for it. But beyond that 1 mile, they should be paying more, okay? So we have to go to the Public Service Commission in order to adjust those rates beyond the mile. But within the mile, whatever rates we want to set, we can set, okay? So those are, so to answer your question, those are the things that we're doing in that direction. West. We're serious about building a new Jackson. In order, once we start working on the infrastructure and you start seeing the infrastructure change, then you are opening the door to more businesses coming into Jackson. We're already out there talking to businesses about coming to Jackson, and there's an interest in businesses coming to Jackson. There is an interest in Jackson. But the businesses, in order to get them here, they're going to have to see that on the map somewhere in the future is that this infrastructure is going to get better and not get worse.
Bill Reed puts it best, is to make Metro Jackson